Hey honey, it's Jasmine and I'm back today with another nursing video. So today's video is probably one of my most anticipated nursing videos of the new year. If you've been following my vlogs, you know that I recently moved to New York and I got 6 job offers. I'm going to tell you guys all about it, as well as I'm going to tell you guys which job I chose. But before I do that, I want you guys to pause this video, leave a comment below telling me what specialty you think I chose, and then I'll let you guys know. Had a total of 4 interviews, but I was actually offered 6 positions, and I'll tell you how that happened, and I want to give you guys a little bit of rundown of each position. So day 1, I actually started out at a primary care clinic, or a family care clinic, which I was actually interested in this position a lot by looking at the job description. So when I went in, I found out that the position was actually completely different than what I thought it was. It was actually a triage nurse position. So if you are a nurse or in nursing school, or you're thinking about what other kind of jobs there is a such thing as a triage nurse, basically located inside a family clinic. When patients call in, you tell them if they need a same-day appointment, a next-day appointment, they need to hurry up and go to an urgent care, or they need to call EMS and go to the ER based off of your judgment. Of course, you have doctors there, there's nurse practitioners there. That's what that position was, but it would require me to sit at a desk for 8 hours. It was a Monday through Friday 8-hour position. The hours sounded amazing, especially with my new schedule, based off of my husband's job, and my kids' school schedule is completely different as well. However, the pay was extremely low. I would have taken a $14 an hour pay cut to sit at a desk for 8 hours, a Monday through Friday, a $14 an hour pay cut. I just couldn't do it. Now, if I was like on my way to retiring, or I needed a job that did not require me to do so much physical activity because of any kind of limitations that I may have, like back problems, which nurses get a lot, that is definitely a position that I would recommend, or that I would have chosen. But at this time in my life, it is just not something that I could see myself doing. So let's go on to job number 2. So job number 2 was actually an ICU position. It's a very small ICU, so we would be a split between ICU, PCU. And I've done that when I was a float nurse as well, and I just, the only drawback to that position was that it is a night shift. I have never worked night shift a day in my life, so I was like, I don't really know about that. And they recently lost their neurosurgeon, so they don't do any kind of neuro procedures, as well as they don't do open heart procedures. So it is, the acuity level, the trauma level is a lot lower than what I'm used to, and I was just like, I don't know about all that. Job number 3 was a float pool nurse. So basically it is the same thing that I did when I was in San Antonio, where you float between different units based on the unit's needs. So you can float between ICU, PCU, you can float between the ER, as well as labor and delivery. I was good with everything until they said labor and delivery. I actually asked the director of that unit, you know, exactly what would I be expected to do in labor and delivery, and she told me the whole shebang. Admissions, you know, checking the cervix, going through the labor process, occasionally C-sections, and I was like, pump your brakes, because I have never done that. So I am always open to learning new things and taking new opportunities to advance my skills. However, I don't want to just be thrown into a specialty that I have absolutely no idea what to do. I literally haven't done anything labor and delivery since clinicals in nursing school. All I remember is you got to do something with a fundus. And that's just because that was a big part of our exams back in school, as well as when I had a baby, my nurse would always come in there and be like, I have to gently massage your fundus, and I'm like, girl, that hurts. It hurts. Ain't nothing gentle about this. So that's honestly all I remember, and I just felt very uncomfortable with that position. Job number 4 was the infusion center. So this is where it gets kind of multiple job opportunities for me. So the director of this specific area of the hospital, she actually is over quite a few clinics. She's over the infusion center, ER, cardiac rehab, and the pain management clinic. So I was offered infusion center, which I was really interested in, surprisingly. So basically it's where people come in and they get platelets, IVIG, blood products, and things like that. And I honestly do that every single day in the ICU. It was an area that I was already familiar with when it comes to PICC lines and Metaports and things like that. Already used to that. It's a Monday through Friday position, but it's 12-hour shifts. So you don't work Monday through Friday, you just cover a couple of days in between. Off all major holidays, as well as off on the weekends. I was super interested in. Infusion Center is going to eventually merge with the chemo clinic, and I will have an opportunity to train as a chemo nurse as well, because that's one thing as an ICU nurse that I can't do, is actually give chemo drugs, chemo meds, and things like that, because you have to be certified. Cardiac rehab is basically people who come in with heart attacks and people who need like stents and things like that, or they've had open heart surgery in the past and they're coming back with complications and things like that, high blood pressure. And you basically go in and you give them training, education, teaching, and things like that. Cardiac is not my area. Even though I'm in the ICU, I do not personally like cardiac. I am more of your respiratory, pulmonary, strokes, things like that. That's more what I'm interested in, and not necessarily open heart surgery and ECMO and things like that. So cardiac rehab was a definitely no for me. Pain management clinic, that is a very stressful position as well, simply because you have to be very careful when dealing with those kind of drugs. When you're dealing with narcotics, your license is like on thin ice, because you have to make sure that you are doing everything by the book. You are giving people the medications that they're supposed to be getting, and then you also have to deal with people who want medications that you're not able to give, and that's just a whole different area. That's also a position that if I was on my way out of the nursing field, if I was on my way out of bedside nursing closer to retirement, that I would take that position. But at this time right now, I think I'm too fresh, too new in it to actually go that route, and I would definitely lose a lot of my nursing skills. So another position that was a possibility, and I don't really want to say this was a job offer, because they actually had a person who was already staffed in that hospital that wanted this position. So she said unless she turned down the position, if I wanted it, I could accept it. And it was interventional radiology. So basically when patients have to go down for thoracentesis, paracentesis, and things like that, I would be like the head nurse assistant in these procedures, as well as taking count of surgical supplies and things like that. Kind of like a mini OR circulation nurse. Nowhere near OR, but doing some of the same things that an OR nurse would do, just for smaller procedures. It wasn't a firm job offer, but I did want to include that in this video to let you guys know some of the different jobs that you can get as an RN. The last one, like honorable mention, that I wanted to throw in there was PACU. And PACU is basically you go to surgery, whether it's a big surgery, minor surgery, you go to surgery, you come and you recover. It's recovery. And I had an interview for that. I actually called and canceled it because when I spoke with the nurse about the job description and everything like that, and she told me that they were actually on call, that they did on call, I was like, no, my schedule is already super hectic and I need something to be a little bit set in stone, because when PACU does on call, they do on call for the week. At least here they do. They do it for the week. So one nurse has it one week, the next nurse has it the next week, and you know, you keep rotating it like that. And that means I could be at my son's basketball game, or, you know, my husband could be TDY or something, and if they call me in, I have to go in. I can't say no. If there's an emergency surgery and somebody needs to recover, then ultimately I have to go in if it's after hours. And that is just too unstable of a position. So I know that was a lot, and I know I covered a lot of positions, and I only did like small little brief job descriptions and what everything was. I just wanted to share with you guys that nursing has so many opportunities, and there's so many other jobs that I didn't even touch on that you can do as a nurse. And I don't want you to feel like you're stuck in one specialty. Regardless of what your specialty is, if you are a nurse, there are so many other ways you can venture out from what you're in. So I don't want you to ever feel stuck, or ever feel like, oh, well, I did this at this hospital, so I have to do this at this hospital, or even that you have to stay in a hospital, because you definitely don't. Last but not least, I'm going to let you guys know what job I accepted and why. I did accept the ICU position. I know you guys aren't shocked. You're not shocked, are you? I'm not shocked. Well, I'm kind of shocked. So ultimately for me, it was a toss-up between ICU and the infusion center. I spoke with a nurse that I actually used to work with in the ICU, who left the ICU and went to infusion, and she told me that coming from the bedside where all the action is, and then going to the infusion center where it's kind of like robotic in a way, it's definitely not something she enjoyed at this point of her career. She has 2 years more of experience as a nurse than what I have, and she said that she actually loved the job. She loved the people that she worked with. She said that she honestly missed the adrenaline and the rush and the excitement of being in the ICU, and that's what I was most afraid of. I didn't want to leave the ICU and lose a lot of my skills and kind of leave the bedside in that manner. I just don't think I was ready for it. I honestly don't think that I have enough experience under my belt at the bedside as an ICU nurse to just let it go quite yet, and I just really wasn't ready to let it go. I'll talk to my husband about it, and he just was like, I honestly know that you love being in the ICU, and I don't know if you're 100% ready to give it up. The major drawback to the ICU position, that is a night shift position, and like I said, I've never worked night shift, so this is going to be a very new experience for me. But I'm ready to take it on. I'm ready to see, you know, how you girl handle it, because when I'm sleepy, I am not a good person to be around. I get very cranky. It's like hangry times 10 when I'm sleepy. And the last reason why I accepted the ICU position is because it is a night position. So the main drawback and the deciding factor is both the same, that it's a night position, and that is because my husband's schedule sucks. So he is in a new unit, and his hours can be very different day to day. His hours are not reliable, so I need to make sure that I can get my kids on the bus as well as off the bus, because there's no guarantee that he'll be able to be home once they get home from school like he was when we lived in San Antonio. His San Antonio position was a very cush position. It was very reliable, very dependable. Same, I mean, it was kind of like he was a civilian. Clock in at this time, leave at this time. There was no staying over. That is just not an option for us here. I need to make sure that, yes, I want to still work, but I need to also make sure that I can be here for my kids, make sure homework is done, make sure they're fed, make sure they're off to school, make sure they're home from school, and then work. So the night position allows us to do that perfectly. The schedule just matches up. I actually had no choice but to take the night position unless I wanted to pay for childcare. And once you stop paying for childcare, you don't want to pay for it again. That's just a lot of money. So that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a lot of information. I know I talked a lot, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm very excited for this new journey that I'm going on. And you know that I'm going to take all of you hunts with me. Also, we're so close to 30K. So make sure you like this video, share it, put it on your Snap, your Instagram, your Twitter, all of that jazz. and let me know. Make sure that if you are not subscribed, you subscribe before you leave. Make sure to follow me on all my social media so that you'll never miss when I post a video, because I blast them everywhere. And until the next video, what is this? What is this? Until the next video, I'll talk to all of you later. Bye. Mwah.